Hey everybody, welcome to the last cast with the Getting Bit fishing team, where the fishing stories are bigger than the actual fish caught. So today we're here at Ohio River Outdoors. This is brought to us by Jan Dills. Just remember, if you're a veteran fighting the VA, just like myself, make sure you pick the attorney that will not take no for an answer. So we're here with the winners of the Ohio River Bass Festival 2024, Bobby Harkness and Jeremy. What'd you say your last name was? Byres. Sorry, I apologize about that. So the big $18,000 winners. We'll just start off a little bit with, you guys want to tell us just a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there. So Bobby, I know you fished a year in the Pro Trail, right? So
I did.
Let's start off with that, and then we'll get into where Jeremy started fishing and kind of what he's been doing here recently, and then we'll go into a little bit more about the festival.
Well, my fishing career, obviously just a weekend angler. Fished the Bass Federation since I was old enough. Got fortunate enough to qualify through the processes and go to the Mid-Atlantic. Back then it was the Mid-Atlantic Division Championship. I believe it was up on Lake Erie, and qualified there, and got good enough, or finished high enough in West Virginia to be able to go to the National Championship qualifier. And then from there I won our division and got to go to the National Championship.
Awesome. Yeah.
Got lucky, like I said, and that was a great experience. I mean, never thought I'd be able to win something like that. You know, compete against 48 different states, champion from each state. So pretty awesome.
So was that called the Living the Dream? Oh, sorry.
What year was that?
It was 09.
Nice.
09. Yeah, it was Living the Dream.
Okay. Yeah. Did they give you a truck and a boat? Was the deal for a year?
They provided me it was basically a brand new Suburban, big old beautiful Suburban. They wrapped it and gave me a brand spanking new. I picked it up myself down in Flippin, Arkansas, Ranger boat.
And you got it for a year.
Got to use it for a year. End up buying at nice discount, buying the Ranger, because I was the one owner. So
yeah, I was gonna say that had to be a good deal to buy the boat off of yourself.
They sent the salesman set it up through Wrights and bought it just like a new boat.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
then I got fortunate enough I was fishing with the Dallas Windgrove, and we won the High River Challenge 2 years ago. That was a $25,000 tournament.
So just an off-the-wall question: do you think you've won enough money to pay off the boat?
Actually, I wouldn't have owned the boat, but I got to fish pro with the Living Dream package. Like I said, they provided me a boat, and they paid all my entry fee into 5 events. It may have been 6 events, and I fished the Forest Wood Cup out in Pittsburgh in the end of 09, and finished 17th. And I was 17,500 there.
Yeah,
that was a nice start. And then we went down to the Red River, and it was one of the first tournaments ever got canceled due to high water and cold weather. But I was on them. I mean, that was my cup of tea. And I had my little brother with me, and he was fishing a co, and we were sticking them. And I was hated to see my first pro tournament, canceled. But it got canceled. My second one was at Table Rock, and I finished 12th. And won, I think it was 12,500. So the boat was, I won 10,000 in cash in the Living a Dream package. So I had enough money right there to buy a good boat. So.
Yeah, so you have a little bit of experience when it comes to fishing.
Just a little.
If you don't mind me, Jeremy, obviously you still have a full-time job, so you're not doing this for a living. Is that something you've aspired to do, or you?
I mean, maybe when I was younger, yeah, but now it's hobby.
Yeah.
Expensive hobby.
So do you fish the trail? Do you guys fish the trail together, or is this like just the Bass Festival, the only thing you guys do together, or
just
what?
The Bass Festival.
And you guys won it nice. That's a good partnership right there.
Yeah,
15-ish years.
Yeah, we've been fishing about 15 years. Yeah, we were in a qualifier at the Federation on the High River one. We drew each other, and I said, "Who's your partner?" "No, I ain't got a partner." I said, "I don't have a partner either." So we teamed up. We've been partners in the Bass Festival for 15 years.
So you guys just happened to meet by happenstance.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was still in college, so.
Who was Bobby? Were you the boater this time, or Jeremy? Were you the boater for the Bass Festival?
We just take turns. I got my Ranger, but he's got a newer motor. He's got a Yamaha.
He was telling me this time you guys used his boat, right? So
yes.
you could move.
Yes.
What type of boat do you have?
I got a Stratus.
Yeah, that thing will scoot.
show.
Yeah.
It'll run good.
Before I had the Falcon by Seven Rivers Marina, I threw that in there. Before I had the Falcon, my last boat was a Stratus, and I mean it's his boat now. 296. It was the 19-footer, but man, that thing would scoot at 71, 72 miles an hour. Those are nice boats.
Yeah, his fishes really well.
Yeah, the motor's
Pretty
serious.
solid. Those shows are
I mean,
nice motors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jeremy, do you have any extensive fishing experience outside of fishing with Bobby and fishing the Bass Festival? Obviously, you don't. If you own a boat, you do it more than just once a year.
Well, I fish with Heather. We've been together for a long time, and she loves it.
So your wife's your
Yeah, we
full-time fishing
yeah,
partner.
Yeah, so
And
we
she
go-
hates me. Yeah. She really wants to fish the festival with
She
Jerry.
does.
And she-
Someday, I'm gonna tell her someday.
You should tell her that after she talked to me out here. She'd make a great publicist for you, honestly. She was right on wanting to know when we were going to have this out to see. Yeah.
She keeps
Uh,
everything straight. So
You need that in your
Yeah,
life, honestly.
definitely.
I know I could use a little bit more of that sometimes. My wife has to work pretty hard to keep me in line, and I think his wife gave up. They've been together for how many years?
No, like 25 years.
Yeah, she gave up a long time ago.
Yeah, that's how I'm 44 years, so
Yeah.
yeah,
So
it's a piece of cake.
After a while, they just accept it and go on about the
They
business.
the other day we were on the boat. And after this we'll get into your Bass Festival, but we were on the boat the other day, and you know how it is being out there for 10 hours with each other. Sometimes you just start talking off the
Yeah,
wall
we do.
question. Yeah, and we got in the conversation of like, if anything ever happened to us untimely, like there's no way our wives would ever like. Do you fish is going to be the next question for the next guy, right? Like, and the answer better be no, because if he says yeah, I fish, they're going to be like, no, nothing to do with you at all, right? But yeah, we were talking. I forgot exactly where I was going with that one. It wasn't about the joke that I made later
I was
on.
going to say,
no.
you're not going to finish the entire story on this podcast.
but
I know that.
the Bass Festival. What's the closest before the win? What's the closest you guys have ever come to?
we've been second. I think maybe twice.
Second twice.
So you guys,
Third, fifth,
you guys know the river just a little bit.
just a little bit.
Just a little.
So if you wouldn't care, you don't have to give away any of your spots or anything major like that. But
Fine.
let's start off with, how'd you guys feel coming into it? Were you guys on them in practice or anything, or did you guys really have anything solid where you thought like, man, this is the real win right here?
You know, and everybody knows we always go to Wheeling or Rayland or Steubenville or wherever.
Yeah, we get away from people.
Yeah.
We always lock. We always go up the river, get away from the big crowds. So we haven't fished this pool for never.
Yeah,
never.
No, really never. And I live in New Martinsville, but still, it's just Wheeling is more of the
Yeah.
what we do. And
No, I get it. Like we typically try to pull out just because it's, even if we're not familiar with the other pool, it's just so much less pressure and crowded. And
Correct.
like you guys, if you fish in St. Mary's, if there wasn't a 100-yard bank of free space,
It was rough. It was rough.
it was terrible. It was, but anyways, yeah. So back to, you guys don't fish St. Mary's. Did you practice it beforehand or?
yeah, I fished 2.5 days in New Martinsville. Well, mornings. I worked afternoons, so. But I know it well. I live there, New Martinsville, but I really never found anything. I don't know that I caught a fish over 2 pounds in the whole 3 days.
Yeah, we've pre-fished New Martinsville a good bit, honestly, and all of our bigger fish we found came middle or southern part of the pool. We didn't find anything. We found one spot up there that we thought was kind of juicy that nobody else really would know about, that we could consistently catch like 12-inch fish on, and we went up there and I think everybody
Knew.
The bad thing is, so you guys know how when it comes to those spots that you might have like a 50-yard section that everybody knows about, but sometimes there's like that 10-yard
Yeah.
section that's like really the juice. Every time we went by there, nobody was at the juice. They were just by it, and it was like too close for me to, because you don't want to just pull right on somebody and be like, hey man, sorry, but I'm taking this spot right here. I see you aren't fishing it. But we went by, what spot I'm talking about, the pocket. We went by it like 5 times, and every time I was like pulling my hair out by this point because we needed just one more fish. Yeah. But so anyways, you didn't find anything. What'd you guys?
No, and I pre-fished the lower section. He stayed north. I fished St. Mary's up to Powhatan, and no, not Powhatan, up to Sistersville, and for a couple days, and then I went to Racine. I spent a day down at Racine. So
I was gonna say, you being from where you're from, I'm surprised you guys. Did you think any about Belpre at all, or
no.
that's a Not a lot of people like that pool.
Oh, it can be good, but
If it rains, it can be really bad.
it can be really bad.
Yeah, we won a tournament out of the little canal one time, and we know the little canal pretty well. It's one of our favorite areas to fish on the river, but I never plan on it, especially this time of year, because, I mean, you're only one pop-up storm away from...
Somebody takes a leak upstream, it's the whole thing's muddy. It's bad.
Now, when you get into summer, you can depend on it a good bit, but this time of year, it's not a reliable water system at all.
Muddy.
So I didn't have a good practice either. I mean, I caught fish every day. I could catch, my 5 limit.
Yeah,
no
I mean,
problem.
7 pounds is
Not $18,000 worth of
not
fish.
a problem, but
No.
So the day of the tournament, you guys drop in. What number do you guys draw?
We drew 127. 127.
That's a good number.
Terrible number.
if you're locking, it's a great number.
Yeah.
If you're locking, it's a great number. But
Well, you guys, like you said, you weren't really on them, so it's not like you had a spot that you were too worried about getting to right away anyways.
No, and honestly, I help with the tournament. I help with the weigh-in, help with the blast off, and so the weigh crew gets to go out early, or gets to go out first. So
Right.
There was, I think, 2 boats in Parker, and St. Mary's got to go out first. We earned that second place the second day, though, but that helps.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah, we wish we would have drawn a later number just because we think if we would have had that extra half hour, 45 minutes, it might have changed the day for us, because we came on to something a little later in the day that I think sometimes a little bit late, especially on days like that. Just finding a free bank because some people were off the water would have been nice, because it was hard to find a free spot to fish. So you drew pretty well last. Where did you guys go for? So you don't tell us the exact spot. Did you guys go north or south or?
Just north.
We went straight to
Straight to New Martinsville.
Yeah, New Martinsville area.
Did you guys have a plan in the beginning, or did you kind of fish some spots you knew about and just came on to something as the day went on?
No, we decided we were going. If we could get to the place first, we were going to start on a community hole. I mean, and it's known for big fish. And I said, if we get there and we catch a big fish, we'll stay there all day. It's one of those deals.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's a place that fish move in and out. And we spent 3 hours on it the first day.
Nice.
That's nerve-wracking. Yeah, 1 fish in 3 hours. It
Yeah.
was a good fish. It was a good one, but
So did you only catch the one fish off of it on day one?
Day
one
yeah.
good and one little tiny keeper.
Did you catch in the beginning, did you catch it and stay there for 3 hours, or you stayed there for
He
3
caught
hours?
it pretty early.
Caught it early.
Half hour in, probably.
Yeah.
Just enough to give you hope to stay there for
Well,
2.5, 4 hours.
It was a 3-pound fish. So
Well, whenever you look to your left and to your right and you don't see a free bank for miles,
that's-
you might
yeah.
as well stick it out.
that's exactly the way it was. Exactly the way it was.
It panned out for you, obviously.
Yeah, like I said, after about 3 hours, we looked at each other and said, we're going to have to make a move. And there was one of, community holes. One was open. We went straight to it. And that was it. It was lights on. And we couldn't believe it. I mean, we've never caught fish like that there at this location. It was offshore, a little deeper water. I mean, and just knocked them. I mean, knocked them.
Yeah.
I caught a 3,
Whatever it
4,
was.
3, 4, 3, 5, another 1 over 3, and then
Went 1 over 2.
1 over 2, and then we caught our limit. Like I said, we only had
How much time did you guys spend on that spot?
not very long.
They were there.
It was probably
amazing.
we made 7 or 8 casts a piece, probably. We just got off it.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, good for you guys. So is that at that moment did you realize, okay, we have
We still had the 2 little ones.
Yeah, we still had 2 little fish.
3 good fish and 2.
and so we had a limit. That's exactly what we had.
I call them keepers. We had
Yeah.
3 keepers and 2 little fish. And
yeah.
And we figured we had 9.5 pounds or so. And I said, well, that's better than expectation. So
Day two, yeah.
Let's go fish we got probably 30 spots up from there down to fish. I said, let's go fish them. So that's what we did.
Also, you didn't try to stick it down to one pattern. You just hit up all your spots trying to.
We burn up spots on the way back down the river.
Yeah,
Did you end up culling out those last 2 fish?
Yeah,
Nice.
both of them.
Both
So
of
that
them.
Nice.
helps.
Nice.
Yeah, we got one. I lost a good one, and then I made up for it. Caught one a little over 2,
Yeah.
and then we were over
We had four good ones, and then
1 little fish, and
So,
down the river we went. Yeah.
just a question as a newer angler trying to learn something here. a lot of people like myself, you'll find a pattern, let's say rock or whatever, and you just try to stick to that. Do you find that sometimes the pattern is sporadic, like you just mentioned, where you just need to hit all your spots to come up to something? They're not really on rock or wood, they're just...
There were so many boats on our spots, and even the spots you didn't think people fish, they fish. I mean, there's no secrets on the river, and we really just fished open places, all the way down the river, and we pulled on a place that was open, and he finished the limit with one that was over 2 also.
So yeah, that was probably what, at 12:30 or 1?
Yeah.
And I said, now what? And he said, what do you do now?
Pray to God they all stay alive by the time you get back.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't want to, we didn't want to burn up any more of our place. You burn up one fish in a tournament like this.
That hurts when it's tough.
Yeah, I said,
Oh, yeah.
let's just go downriver and we'll just fish some places we normally wouldn't fish.
Well, not to mention not just burning the spot up, but if people see you on a spot too long, people know who your boats are.
Sure.
And there's always going to be that guy that would make day 2 and seeing where you guys were fishing, knowing that you're doing better than them, and you might end up seeing somebody else in your spot if you spend too much time there is the unfortunate thing. I mean, it's not the moral thing to do, but...
They do it.
Yeah, they do it, trust me.
do it, yeah.
And I found out once you get a wrap boat, it's 10 times worse. Yeah.
We see you guys, and I said, you remember that, the rap.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what happens. Like I was telling him, though, it's like people think that we're the smartest kid in the class. They want to copy off our test, but we're failing. You don't want to copy off us.
That's bad.
Oh, yeah, but, especially in practice, it was this is my first tournament with the boat being wrapped. I'd move into a spot, and I'd be fishing there, and you'd see people, looking. This was up in New Martinsville, and I'd pull off, and you'd see 3 boats.
They all did that all day.
Really?
Every day.
Oh, God. It was just so... the thing that amazed me was it's like once... A lot of times people, I guess, they'll give you room, but once a lot of boats got on that water, people threw their morals out.
It was, yeah.
We tried to play by the rules, and finally, at 10 o'clock, I told him, if we want to fish anywhere, we're just going to have to start fishing on top of people and not worrying about their feelings.
I think people knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, but like we said, with the wrap boat, you have a lot of names you're representing, and people can complain at you quicker, I guess, than somebody else just because you have a wrap boat.
Out,
Yeah, you have a wrap boat. Knock over the mic. So, I guess we talked about how you guys ran into the fish. If you don't care telling us, was it finesse fishing? Was it power fishing? Was it a mix?
We're both finesse fishermen. I mean, we don't really power fish.
Really?
I wouldn't call anything we do.
So what do you consider finesse fishing, I guess, then?
Small plastics, small jigs.
So you guys still will cover water with a small jig or small swim bait or something like that?
Small baits.
But you're not throwing a big,
We don't really ever cover any water. It's
Really?
literally the guys ask me, we don't fish a bank ever. Rarely.
So you guys
It's a
fish
spot.
offshore?
Well, spot fishing.
Okay. That's kind of what we've started doing.
Yeah,
that's-
you won't catch us going to a bank and start fishing down the bank. Never.
That's the only time we really do that anymore over the last year, I guess, was as we developed is when we pre-fish.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll go through with a crankbait or something, the spots where we can catch, let's say if we've been only catching 1 fish per bank, and we find a bank where we caught 3 fish off a crankbait, we'll mark that and we'll go back to it with small plastics or stuff like that. But yeah, I guess that just goes to show if you're disciplined enough, finesse fishing can get you somewhere, because there's a lot of guys that like to talk crap on finesse fishing, A lot of guys don't like to do it, but it wins. It wins paychecks.
Around here it wins.
Oh, well, especially whenever there's 97 boats and there's 27 miles of bank line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The high river's tough anyway, and it's got some bad raps, but the last few years with smallmouth has just been phenomenal.
Yeah, actually.
We were talking to Sean Douglas earlier this morning about it, and he was talking about some a meeting with the DNR he had, and they kind of showed a graph where
They did a study. They had a biologist from WVU, yeah.
3-year study is what it was, and showed a graph where the smallmouth population is just spiking, but the largemouth population is dropping off almost the exact same. So it's...
Yeah, they said the smallmouth is flourishing on the river.
Yeah.
I think a lot has to do with the water's clear. The grass is a big thing in the river.
starting to come back. It's starting to be nice about it.
Last fall was a lot. There was someplace the bait to go and the little fish to go.
So,
that helps.
How long have you been fishing the river, you said, before this?
I think we figured out 25 years, 27. I started in a local club when I was a senior in high school.
Okay.
So
I like it.
And then, Bobby, how long have you been fishing the river?
Do I have to tell you?
I'm going to say definitely older than you've been alive. Probably longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, I started fishing Thursday night tournaments in Parkersburg when I was 21, 22 years old, and I'm 65. So
Yeah, you've done some time on the river. So where I'm getting at with this is you've seen all of the ebbs and flows of the river. Because before, right, the river used to have like a 10 fish limit at the Bass Festival back in the day because people could catch so many fish here.
It did.
Was it ever known for big fish or just numbers?
They're big largemouth. I mean, big largemouth.
Before it all silted in,
Before it all silted in.
Yeah, and then has it like ebbed and flowed over the years, or are we just on a drop off that's not coming back in your opinion, or have you seen it go down and spike over the?
No, it's ebb and flows, and the DNR will tell you that too, and they're really religious about it. Our Ashland oil spill really ruined the river for several years.
How long ago was the Ashland oil spill?
20 years ago, 25 years ago, yeah.
Okay.
It was bad. And we created a Adopt a Bass, and we actually raised money to stock fingerling bass in the river, largemouth, and we stocked those 3 years, and that helped. But just Mother Nature. It took that long to get the little fish to become quality fish again, and since then it's been really good.
Yeah, not to mention there's a lot of factors along the river and stuff like that. It's hard to tell. I think most of them try to do a pretty good job nowadays, but there was the C8 controversy that happened a few years ago, which if that hurt people, that probably didn't help fish, if I was guessing.
I still wouldn't eat a fish out of the river.
So, well, you say that, but there's one, I know you know Bergie real well. He eats tons of walleye off the river, and I
just couldn't do it.
I couldn't bring myself to do it. No. Wake up glowing in the dark or something.
You would.
We were looking up the limits one day of what you could eat on the river, and according to the website, like walleye you could eat is 4 or 5 a month. Bass were the same. Striper, there was no limit on. Hot striper hybrid there was. But catfish, it said catfish under 18 inches, it was like 1 a month. It said catfish over 18, 0. I was like, if it's that close, I don't think I need to.
And those fish you mentioned, they eat all the same bait, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where they get the numbers from, but I'll be honest with you, if you have to put a real hard limit on something like that, I just don't know if it's worth it, It's like if McDonald's put up a sign that said, you can only eat 5 Big Macs a month, most people would probably be like, do I really want to risk it?
We probably shouldn't be eating 5 a month. It's probably worse than the fish in the High River.
No, that's probably accurate. It's hard to tell. I mean, considering you take a cheeseburger and it sit out in your truck for a month or something like that, it looks the same.
Look at it.
It looks exactly the same. So, you think the river is just naturally on an ebb and flow? You think it's on an up spike? Because the river's been fishing really good this year.
The river is really good. Like I said, I belong to the Bass Federation, and actually they called me in to be the president this year. But we have a buddy trail. We fished Moundsville, and 3 fishermen didn't show up, and 1 went home early because his boat broke down. But there's 26 limits caught, 26 boats out there. They all caught limits.
Wow,
that's just unusual. That's just
yeah. It is, especially for the river. So, since you guys are both really well experienced river fishermen, one of the things that we do on the podcast or anything that we do, we try to help newer anglers figure things out. Is there any advice you would give somebody, either new or experienced fishermen, especially when it comes to the river, where some people were probably making a common mistake that you would fish in a lake, or something that you guys have found that you wouldn't mind sharing that just helps or helped it click to where the river made more sense to you guys, or is it just time on the water? What would you?
There's no substitution for time on the water. I mean, really, there's not. Anytime you're smallmouth fishing, it's all about current breaks. Yeah. That's no secret.
That's no secret. Yeah, current.
That's what it's all about.
Fish and line. I mean, I think you're getting it into a little deeper then. But as the water clears and it gets clear, you really want to go to a fluorocarbon, a good clear fluorocarbon line. Some people go down to 6, 8 pounds. I don't. I mean, I still fish 10.
I fish 8 a lot,
and that's great. My problem is all the nicks and running that baits over an hour. You get a little nick and then you lose a good one. You can't lose a good fish.
What brand fluorocarbon do you guys like?
Cigar.
That's what we use.
Yeah,
we use.
Question.
Yeah.
Sunlight. I use some Sunlight. It's good.
Yeah.
I use P-line's not too bad, but I still go with the cigar. It's just
that Invisex. I mean, it's truly really
It is.
It's good.
There's
good
a difference.
line.
People say there's no difference. There's a difference.
There is. Yeah. So I use for like flipping or not extreme power fishing, but moving baits. I'll use the red label because I don't think the fish have as much time to look at the bait. And I think it holds up really well. But when it comes to finesse fishing, I agree that Invisex is hard. The diameter is really small. if you're fishing a good clear lake, like whenever this place clears up, or we fish Chautauqua a good bit, whenever you're fishing a place like that, I've noticed a good clear fluorocarbon. I hate to say that spending a little bit more money helps you, but it really does whenever it comes to it. I'm not going to say that you're not going to catch any fish, but we're talking about trying to differentiate yourself between other guys that are out there that are fishing. They already have the right baits and the right electronics and stuff. It really comes down to the line and the tactic.
And we don't really ever, compare too much, but this leaders wasn't it. We talked about leaders, and the water wasn't crystal clear during the festival at all. And he asked me, he said, "What leader are you going to use?" I said, "I'm going to use 12." He's 12. You shouldn't use 12. He said, "I'm going to use an 8." And I said, "You lose a fish, and it's going to cost us."
Yeah, right.
And
I went to 10.
He went to 10. Yeah.
We throw a 10 most of the time on
Yeah.
everything except super finesse, your nets and stuff.
Yeah.
So how long do you make your leader typically, if we're talking like a drop shot or a wacky one?
I make mine really long. But
So you're like him. He likes to make his really long, and you're
that's just for, I don't want to retie it and retire it and retire it.
I'm right there
I mean,
with
I
you.
make it like 12 foot long.
When I bring my line up and it's hanging, that knot will be right almost at my finger. So I've got that much leader now.
So the question that you guys should both have the answer to on this one is the reason I don't do what you guys do is whenever that knot gets way in there, like sometimes it messes with the cast.
You do not want it to go in, I don't believe.
Yeah, and the way you
What
do
knot you
it,
tie?
you what?
What knot you tie it?
What is the crazy Alberto or something like?
Albright knot.
Albright knot. It's like 7 up, 7 down. What knot do you tie?
FG knot.
Oh yeah, so you down there with all your 6 fingers and toes.
But it
and-
goes through. I
It's a great knot.
reel
too.
it in the reel.
Yeah.
You don't even feel it. It's super.
So you don't have that issue with like you got a cast and a bunch of your braid wanting to come out
No,
with it.
never,
We'll have
never.
to give that. Everybody needs to
we'll
remember
try.
the FG knot on
And
that
it's
one.
an easy knot to tie.
It's really not that bad
once
after you
get
learn it.
Really?
It's simple.
It
Yeah,
can't
it's-
be much harder than the Albright. I mean, that's
Albright's a tough knot.
Yeah.
I never did really conquer it, so
The hardest part of it is the wrap. So I'm just sitting there and I'll get it started and I'm like flipping it like this, trying to get it wrapped over. But
Now, it's easy to
Good
do in
knot,
a
but tough.
controlled environment, but
Yeah.
whenever you're on Lake Erie and the wind's blowing,
That's why I take 12-foot leader. So
yeah, so you don't have to deal with
you break
that.
it a little bit off.
So,
Retie it.
so you are FG knot too, or
go on Google. What is it? What's his name?
Oh,
Finn.
Yeah. If you just Google FG knot, there's a million videos.
yeah.
yeah, well,
Shin- good.
Shinfukai. But I'm telling you, he makes it nice and simple. Anybody can pick it up.
yeah, we'll
Seriously.
have to give that a try because that's
Just-
one of the biggest complaints
Yeah,
that we
give
have.
it a try,
from-
and I believe you'll, and it's really a good strong knot.
As long as you get it cinched good with the, I mean,
You like the Palomar knot at the end of your line?
That's what we use.
yeah.
There was another one, and I keep forgetting to try it. What was Marshall?
I can't remember the
I
name of it.
cannot remember the
that
name
it,
of
it
it.
is a really good knot, but it has like 3 or 4 tag ends. It's a weird one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I cannot remember how it's said, but you end up running through and back up, and then you spin your line around it, and then feed it back there and tie it. But I cannot.
It's a strong knot.
It
Yeah.
started with a D. Cannot remember what it's called.
Yeah, I
But
can't
the
remember.
polymer knot though has been proven to be it's
Oh,
almost
yeah.
100% knot.
I use it
so-
99% of the time for stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't for my leaders. You know, you can't
Can't
use
use
polymer
it.
knot for that. But even whenever, do you guys flip any, or do you usually fish open water and try to fish spots, or?
Well, I flip a lake.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Rarely.
Yeah,
Rarely river.
yeah. So
Early
there's really nowhere to
spring,
flip
I will.
on the river.
Early
Yeah.
I mean, some of the backwaters back in the day, I mean, it's all we flipped the big old jig and big spinnerbait.
But yeah, even when I flip, I use a polymer knot. And I know some guys use a snail knot whenever they
I
flip.
use a snail knot.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen it makes sense how it's going to make the hook kick up better, but I've never really had a hookup ratio with flipping because I set the hook like I want to try to pull their eyes out.
Oh, I do
before.
too.
Yeah. We've talked about it. 'Cause do you guys fish in the front of the boat together?
Rarely.
We fish in the front of the boat together a lot. There's been so many times we've talked about like one day it's going to come. I'm going to go to set the hook, or he's going to go to set the hook, and the other guy's going to be standing there. They're going to catch a fist to the face or something like that because
Or
we
a
both.
rod, or
Yeah, we
or
both
a
set the
bait.
hook. So, well, the bait's already been caught a time or two. This guy ended up in the ER free fishing
Nice.
for Bass Festival.
Yeah.
You've been there too,
Yeah, it
yeah.
was last fall. I had 3 buried in.
Oh.
Same time.
Oh,
That's a
Big
good
ones.
one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And
Were you
the-
fishing by yourself?
No, I was taking a couple guys out to actually show them the river, and I asked for a bait, exactly, whopper popper, or whopper flopper, they call them, whatever. And I hadn't even tied it on yet. I just stood up, and it's a Ranger, and there was a wave or something, and I stepped back and felt off, and the rod went down, and I looked, and I was handcuffed. So
Oh, you had him in both hands.
both hands.
Holy hell.
Yeah, and he didn't have anything to cut him off with, and we went back to the boat ramp, and
You went to the ER like this?
well, he actually went to a hardware store and picked up a good set of cutters and got me
Freed.
and I got one out with the braid, and I had 2 extra, and I cut them off and drove to ER.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His was in a little bit harder of a spot to try to get out. It was right in the thigh.
I had it in the tree and went to straight line it to break it off. Well, it didn't break it. What was I using? Oh, it was a crankbait, and it came back fast. I had pants like they're this material, but pants. And it came back, hit me in the back of the leg right here in the crook of the knee, and
It sounded like a 22 shot off. And the part that got me was, so if you're thinking about a crankbait, you have the swivel with the hook, so the hook moves, and the points are facing away from you. So I don't know how it magically aligned to not only go through those thick pants, but into his thigh, and the hook never swiveled. But anyway, like it cracked, and like I'm covered.
Yeah.
And then I look up, and I'm like, okay, everything's good. And then I look back at him, I'm like, you okay, man? And I look, and I see it like there, and I was like, oh, bro. And he was like, it's not that bad, it's not that bad. And then we looked, and it was indeed every bit of that. Thank God we were right across from my camper lot at Wright's, and we just ate at the Jug, and it was a little warm out. He was doing fine, but the second he seen how bad it was, like instantly his shade changed. And big fella here, I thought he was going down on me. I was like, sit down, we're going to hide over here. I called my wife and our friend, and I was like, you guys need to grab the car, get the air conditioner turned on, and come down here and meet us. We tried to get it out, which apparently wasn't the right solution. Then the doctor actually told him I was an idiot for trying to get it out. And but yeah, we got him to the ER, and he was back at it, just a few hours later,
Yeah. Could not get it out. I had one on my finger too. I could not get out. Had my father-in-law. Now I had my father-in-law who wanted to see me in pain, trying to yank this thing out. He was down underneath the nail, could not.
I bet he gave it his all too.
Oh, he did. He didn't hold back.
So have you ever been fortunate enough to?
I've had a drop shot hook in my finger.
Yeah.
Braid and pulled it out.
See, yeah, the braid trick seems to
It
be
works.
pretty reliable.
As long as you can take that eye and pin it down, it'll come straight out. It really will.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
Yeah.
No, they tried. Once I got to the ER, they tried to do. She was, we're gonna try to do the
String theory.
string theory is what she called it, and she tried it, and she's like, nah. She goes, I'd say your friend then got that stuck in there.
She said I had the barb engaged, is how she worded it. Yeah. She said we would have been way better off
So
to.
leave it alone and come in.
Yeah, without saying that I was an idiot, she pretty well said that I was an idiot. So, without dwelling too much further into the pain of fishing, if you guys don't mind me asking, was the majority of your stuff? I'm not going to ask what it was. What's your favorite soft plastic? I guess would be a better question. What do you guys prefer? Like, what's your favorite go-to bait? What would you say you have the most confidence in? Not just on the river, but just in general. What do you like to, as soft plastic guys? What do you like to go to, other than a wacky worm? Because that's what we would go to. That's the only thing we know.
Can you beat a Senko? Really?
Yeah, you
can't.
really can't beat
There's
a
no
snake.
secret.
I mean,
That's not a secret.
So you guys do throw wacky worm a lot,
Wacky Senkos a lot.
weightless, or do you weight them down?
Depends how the current is and where we're fishing. I mean, if you get into clear water and it's not much current, you can just.
So is that what you guys did your damage on one of the bass festivals? Wacky worm?
He wasn't going to ask us, was he? I like
I'm
that.
not asking you what color or what size or what brand. It's the spot. Remember, it's the spot. that
Actually, we
matters.
caught them on about several baits on a series. So
Yeah.
I caught one on a big one on a crankbait, caught a good one on a jig, and we caught several on a Senko and
It's hard to beat a jig too.
Tube.
tube.
Hookup on tube.
Scoop. Like I said, we're junk fishermen. I mean, we really do. We move around a lot and we change baits. We already made up our mind if we had a good limit, we're going to go upsize and throw big stuff, which we did. We
Yeah.
we
I
threw
threw
stuff.
that meg draft for 3 hours.
Big old
It's big.
swim bait.
6-inch, yeah.
So what's your favorite brand of Senko?
There's only one brand of Senko.
Yamamoto.
You got it. Yamamoto.
Yeah, that's where we're
The expensive kind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
well-
do like the Berkeleys, but Yamamoto, it's just a good plastic. It's durable. It'll last a lot more than a Berkeley will.
at. And what I like about Yamamoto too is, I guess the secret to Yamamoto is with that salt and the way the collar is. If you want to change it up a little bit, you just
Yeah.
pull it, and the whole bait looks just a little bit different. You
Sure
know?
does.
Yeah, that and they're a lot more durable than the Berkeley. What's your opinion on the max scent baits? I like them, but I don't like them all at the same time.
Well, we like them, but a lot of trash fish like them too. I mean,
Yeah.
you can catch
Catch a lot of-
catfish
Yeah.
and drum, and I'm just more so on a Berkeley than any other bait.
Now we go like Erie or anywhere else. Yeah. for sure.
accent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Flatworms.
Flatworm, you know.
The flatworms are a nice one up at Erie too. Yeah. The only thing, like I said, the only thing I don't like about them is you buy like a pack of, I think they come in 7 or 8. But if you get on a bite with that bait that day, you're going to use 2 packs easily.
Ask him how many he keeps in his boat. at
I
all
keep
times.
doubles and triple packs of every color.
Like we're getting ready to go to New York.
Yeah.
I'll take 100 packs.
My
Holy
man.
Like a whole
Edit that one.
Yeah.
plastic shoebox things.
Yeah.
Full of
Wow.
Flatworms.
All flatworms. That's all you.
Buddy, I thought I needed sponsors, but you
Oh,
should approach Berkeley for.
He's terrible.
You could buy a new boat with the kind of money you're spending on those things.
yeah.
If you think about how much we do it compared to your basic weekend angler that's not really out there, because even like you said, you might not tournament fish a whole lot, but you're still on the water fishing a good bit, right? Like you're fishing.
I fish a lot.
Yeah, whenever you decide that this is your thing and you're doing it more than 5 weekends out of the year, if you do it as much as we do it, you have to try to save money, because by the time you start looking at soft plastics and then replacements of line and stuff, like you can drop $500 a month. I mean, quick.
easy.
When you're getting full tilt though and can't really get it here, Doug really has a great selection. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not but he does a great job for the local bass fishermen.
Spoiled.
Oh, we
We're
are
all
spoiled.
If you can't find it here,
He's got some stuff
If he
here.
doesn't have it, he'll get it. But I would be surprised if he doesn't have it.
well, I came in last week and right before the festival and I was looking for a good buzzbait reel. I mean, I'm a Shimano guy, but little brother bought a Daiwa Elite, and it was really nice. I used it. And I came in, I surfed the web. It was the same dollar here.
Oh.
I could buy it local, play with it, the whole works.
Well, not to mention, for something else that really impresses me with Doug, any of our veteran friends out there, he gives an automatic 15% discount to anybody that can show. All you got to do is show, if you're from West Virginia, it'll be on your driver's license that you're a
Right.
veteran. But yeah, I mean, one, he's local, but two, he helps a lot of local anglers, not just with sponsorships, but pretty well any kid thing you have going on around here. that he does.
Federation, when I have a youth tournament, he sponsors and takes care of that. I mean, great.
Yeah,
Great guy, great guy.
and like he said, we're spoiled here because you guys travel like we do. You go to some of these bait shops out of town, and you'll be at like a huge lake like Lake Erie, for instance, or we were at Smith Mountain for a tournament a few weeks ago, and you would think there would be a magnificent bait shop somewhere close by, and you look, and it's like a quarter of this place, or not
It
even.
wasn't
a quarter.
even at Smith Mountain. The biggest bait store that we had 3 anglers tell us about wasn't 2 aisles of Doug's store. I'm not even.
And,
not two
those
half
people,
aisles.
and those
here.
people were impressed. They're like, "Man, you got to check this place out. You got to check
It's
this
got
place.
everything.
It's got everything." And I was like,
Sorry.
"No, man, you
It
go to Doug's, and it's like walking through an Amazon. There is everything."
If you can't find a rod and reel combination here, you're not going to find it.
Yo, no,
That's
I will tell you right now, this place is 4,000 or 5,000 square foot easily,
Oh,
if
yeah.
not more.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's got more bass fishing stuff than Bass Pro Shops does.
Yeah.
Easily.
Oh yeah, if you get a Bass Pro anymore, they actually have more of anything but fishing stuff than they do.
And I hate to say Cabela's, I mean,
Same
I've been a
thing.
supporter, but you can't find, there's more current tackle here than ever at Cabela's.
Yeah, and I guess once you think about it, it'd be hard for somebody to come up with this kind of capital to make this happen for anywhere. So yeah, we are very blessed to have Doug and Ohio River Outdoors, because
We are.
it's so hard sometimes. You get to
He's
these
got
out-
my credit card numbers worse though. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
memorized.
Yeah, I was going to say he has mine memorized by now too. Funny story. One day we were here shopping, and we get up to the register, and I think he'd already bought one rod, and there was this other rod, and he ended up loving it, just to be fair. But there's this other rod. He's like, I don't know if I want to get it or not. And he walked back and forth 2 or 3 times, and of course Doug was egging him on to buy it. And I finally said, dude, I'll flip a coin. Heads you buy it, tails you don't. And there was another guy we worked with that was with us, and he was like, okay. So I flip it, and I look at it, and it landed on tails. But I looked at him and I said, heads. And he went, okay, I'll go buy it. And I looked at the other guy and I showed him, and he said, are you going to tell him? I said, after he swipes his card.
yeah.
What are friends for?
Oh, yeah, right. So we go out to the car, and we're sitting out there. We and him were just laughing our rear ends off. And he comes out there just smiling with this rod, 2 rods and reels he just bought, spent $1,000 at Doug's.
Yeah.
And he comes out there, and I wait till I think as soon as we pull out, I was like, hey, man, I forgot to tell you something about the coin flip. And he's like, what's that? I was like, his tails. But you caught a fish with that rod at some point, so it paid
Yeah.
itself off, right? If you catch one fish with it,
All good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it paid itself off. So, since the flatworm wasn't what you want on, I don't feel bad for asking this question. What's your favorite colored flatworm whenever you go out to like Lake Erie?
There's flatworms are good. Yeah, green pumpkin, obviously. Green pumpkin watermelon can be good. That brown back is super good up there.
Now, do you just drop shot only is how you fish it, or do you have any special technique you're
We're
holding
going to
out with?
Erie in next week, so that's why we're asking so
Oh,
many
yeah.
questions.
Yeah, we're going to Prescott Bay for a tournament next week. So.
Yeah.
Tournament, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
Well,
one day's
if
in the
you're gonna be
bay.
up there, you might as well join.
I drive by Prescott now.
He goes to New York.
He's going to
Actually,
Buffalo.
Thousand Islands. You ever
No.
been? Have you never been there?
No,
I've heard
we're
it's good.
talking Thousand Island. He's clear up.
Yeah, our
St.
friend
Clair.
Marshall, we were talking about, they go to Thousand Islands, or used to every year. Him and Uncle Lenny used to go every year to Thousand Islands. That's how many days are you going up there for?
2 weeks.
Oh, that's going to be tough to come back here and fish the river after 2 weeks of.
yeah.
I asked him, "You ever get tired of catching fish?" He said, "No."
So do you work at a plant? Is that so you swing shift?
Yeah,
So you can kind of schedule your vacation with like your breaks and stuff to be able to get 2 weeks like that off.
I
Yeah.
got like 17
jealous.
days off.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you
Yeah.
won't want to come back here and even look at one of these Ohio River
We
bass.
come back and like the next day we have the challenge trail. It'll be rough, I'm sure.
We
Oh,
did that
yeah.
last year. We fished Chautauqua, and which is up there in New York, and we had 2 days where we caught 16 plus pounds, and then the week we came back, we had to fish a tournament. It was a ORC tournament. It was middle of summer. It was hot, and I remember like halfway through the day, I just kind of like put my rod down, and I just looked at it and I was like, "Dude, this sucks." This is because at Chautauqua or a lot of these lakes, you know what I'm talking about. Every cast, you have that feeling like you just know it could be there. That you could feel the 5-pounder or the PB is like every cast that chance is there. And on the river, it's just like I made 10 casts, I might catch a fish on this next one, and
Yeah.
it could be a, I guess, morale changer to come back to fish. But I don't blame you for taking the trip
I mean,
up
even
there.
Prescott could be tough. Guys see the pros catch them. It's not that. It's not
No.
like that.
No, I
Now,
fished.
you do have 75, 100 fish days, but you don't catch 27-pound limits.
Yeah.
Rare. I mean,
No.
I've been up there, probably 25 days, and once have I ever in one day caught 25 pounds.
Well, even at the nice lakes like that, it still comes down to what is it Sean told us earlier? 90% of the fish are in 10% of the lake. Even those big lakes, you're still yet to find the right spots to catch those.
And up there, it's really big.
Oh, there's
You have no
thousands.
idea.
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
big
you have
lake.
no idea how big.
Canada. I mean, there's so many places to go.
Either one of you guys ever fished Canada?
Yeah, I did last year. Go
So-
up there, just scoot across the river and you're in Canada.
Yeah. Do you have to buy there's like a permit you have to buy or something like
Yeah, you
that?
have to get a outdoor card, which is good for I think ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, then you just buy your 3 or 10-day license. But, yeah.
So do you notice a big difference in Canadian waters versus American waters, or is that a big?
I mean, not there because it's the same river.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of like
Yeah.
West Virginia, Ohio, kind
Yeah.
of here.
Yeah. They say on Erie, though, if you go into the Canadian waters, that you can run into some better fish. And I don't know if there's any truth to that or not.
Canadians probably say the same thing about the
Yeah, right.
These
Yeah.
waters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, up there, no.
So-
I wouldn't say it's any better, any worse. It's the same.
Right. So since you're retired, why aren't you taking the trip to Thousand Islands with them? You guys could fish more than one time a year together. Is it scared you guys will do more damage to more tournaments, or
No.
cash too many more checks, or
No.
yeah?
I get enough fishing done with just fishing the Federation Tour or Buddy Trail, fishing our qualifiers, fishing this one here, and then we fish the High River Challenge too. So it's enough.
That's what I was about to ask how many trails you followed. So you follow 3 trails as
Actually,
well?
2 trails, and then just fish the Bass Festival.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, of course, if you get fortunate enough to move on from the Federation, you can go anywhere then.
Right. So
It's neat. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys do it. I don't think
what is it?
Federation stuff.
We've talked about doing Federation next year. No, now right now we just fish Fishers and
It's
Men
neat.
in the
It's a good
challenge.
group of guys.
Yeah.
It's smaller, but it's a good group of guys. We have a blast.
Do you fish the Federation too?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your
The
trail.
TBF side, yeah. We don't fish the trail. It's shift work.
Yeah, that's kind of
He
hard.
fished
to
a
do.
couple tournaments,
It
but
was money.
not,
I call it money jump.
Yeah. I mean, so the TBF are these? Do you have to draw your partner, or do you get to pick your partner?
It's a partner. You just
Okay.
pick
The
your
trail's
partner.
a partner. We
Yeah.
go to like the
The qualifier and the states
draw out.
all drawn.
Okay, so once you make it to that,
Yeah.
Point, then you'd have to
You're either
draw.
a co or a boater, and you're not going to fish together. You're going to be fishing with somebody
yeah,
else.
that's the only thing I've ever been worried about is going as a non-boater. I'd always be scared to get stuck with somebody you didn't know in
Really,
the
in
boat.
TBF, I mean,
Yeah, the TBF, you get a half a day of the boat. I mean, not to run the boat, but actually run the trolling motor if you can, and you fish your water.
Yeah,
So
well, that'd be.
That's nice.
Everybody's there for the same reason.
Yeah.
You go catch the fish. So.
Yeah, I guess sometimes you just run into somebody that's kind of sketchy on driving a boat, and you get.
Or you hear horror stories of just people who are
It's not like it
impossible
used
to
to
deal
be.
with.
It's
You
not
know,
like it
you know what
used
you
to be.
do?
Yeah.
It's not.
Slow down.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna walk. You can let me out. I mean, you just don't take chances like that. And
Yeah.
and I'll be honest with you, it's safety first in our organization. I mean,
That's a good thing.
The last thing in the world you call somebody's wife and says your husband got killed in a boat accident.
Oh, yeah.
So we make sure it's not foggy. You know, we've delayed for 2 hours waiting for the fog to move, and you know some people don't like to sit there, but it's safety first.
Oh yeah, well for anybody that thinks it doesn't happen, I think last year on the Pro Trail, I can't remember if it was FLW or if it was MLF or Bass, but there was two pro anglers that wrecked last year. Yeah, had one drove like they were in a river channel I was watching. He drove up onto the bank and had a pretty bad accident. I forget what happened to the other one, and then this year there's already been 2 in the opens. I think
One in
2.
Florida.
Yeah. So I mean, it does happen. You think about that. It's
People
not.
need to pay attention. I mean, it's not all fun and games. It really isn't.
Oh no, it's not. I mean,
Especially when you put a stranger in your boat, you know.
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility.
I'm pretty sure one of those, the guy was ejected from the boat and he was pretty tore up.
yeah, but he survived though, thank God. Yeah, but no, that's I guess a lot of people don't think about it whenever they're driving a boat because there's not posted speed limit signs or something like that. But you're driving something just as dangerous as a car, if not more dangerous, because you don't have a roof or a roll cage over top of you. You know.
You are the crumple zone.
Yeah. I mean, one day we were going down the river in my last boat, and he just happened to reach down just to fill the water. And as soon as he felt how hard that water hit, his eyes got great big, and he was like, "Dude, if you felt this, like you could only imagine what it would feel like if we ever got thrown out of the boat at this speed."
I think you just skipped for a
It's
couple jumps.
like 60 mile an hour. It's like concrete or something.
Oh,
Oh yeah, well, like he said, the life vests are important because there's no way you're coming out conscious. You're going to be passed out for a second or two. There's no way you wouldn't be. I don't know.
It'd be rough.
Yeah, just hopefully nobody else is running behind you and run over you or something whenever you decide to eject yourself from the boat.
And the state's good. I mean, now they have boat safety courses you have to take before you can run a boat. You know, we're grandfathered in because we're old, but
Same.
I mean, I think they got a good program now.
Yeah, I would say so.
Take care of your boats.
It only takes 11 hours to finish that. Ask me how. I'm not old. I didn't get grandfathered into that. He's grandfathered into it.
I did too.
Well, once you
Yeah.
get to a certain age, they know that common sense stays there.
I was just getting ready to make that joke that there's a common sense factor behind it. So I guess before we get ready to wrap this thing up, do you guys have anything big that you want to tell us? I mean, anything other than we went over without releasing too many of your secrets?
Oh no! But I would say get a kid interested in fishing. Okay, I mean that's the future of the sport. I don't think as many children and fish nowadays like they used to. I know my daughter. I wish I'd have taken her fishing more when I was fishing this trail. She used to wake up at 5 o'clock with me. Said, "Dad, you take me fishing today?" I said, "No, I'm going with Uncle Buddy. I'm going to go pre-fish or I'm fishing a tournament." And I should have taken her. Okay, she could have sat in the middle of the boat any day other than a tournament.
Yeah.
I do now as much as I can. We fished the last year. We came in third at the Belpre Homecoming.
Nice.
And my granddaughter, I put a pond almost in the front yard for the kids. So I get them on the water, guys. Take
absolutely.
time to take a child fishing.
So one of our really close friends, do you know Alan White?
Oh yes.
Oh,
So his granddaughter, I can't remember how old his granddaughter is, but that's his goal is to get her hooked on fishing, right? So he dug a pond up at his son's house. I'm not going to tell anybody where this magical pond is, but I think Alan has talked this thing with it's like exclusive, no 3-pound fish or below. Like it's 3-pound or above.
That's true.
He let me fish it one time, and I mean, like you just throw a frog just anywhere in this little pond, you just see like big swirls everywhere, and just be 3-pounder. Like by the time you catch 3-pounder, 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 but he takes his granddaughter up there. I told him, I was like, man, she's hooked on fishing now. What are you going to do whenever you take her somewhere with her?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little change for my granddaughter too. I take her out in the river and she's Papa.
They're not biting like they do at the pay farm. Yeah, the pay lake that we have at the house.
But I again, it's a great sport for kids. Keeps them off the streets. I'm telling you, I don't know a lot of bad fisher people that's been in trouble.
We've said that
kids that's raised on the water, learn that this bad habit we call bad habit. They do all in life.
We've said that several. Go ahead.
Well, one thing is once you're you fish so much, you don't have the money to spend it on anything else. So there's no other option. Right?
But you know, honestly, when it comes to any other sport out there, this is probably one of the last true, real family-oriented sports. Whenever I can't think of too many fishing tournaments I've been to where if I had to up and leave, you know, this would never happen. If I had to leave my daughter with a group of guys for a second while I had to go take care of something, I don't think there's really anybody I've met too, honestly, in this sport. Everybody's like really family-oriented. Everybody you can pretty well trust. Yeah. I wouldn't want to leave my kid with a group of football players. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I don't know. I've never met a fisherman really in this sport that's been. Some of them are kind of standoffish, but you know, for the most part, good group of guys.
And it's a good group of guys, and you meet a lot of friends. I mean, I've got, like you just mentioned, a bunch of them, but that just good people do anything for you.
Did you know Nelson White, Alan's dad?
Oh yeah, I fished with Nelson at a bass festival.
We actually talked about him.
Yeah,
When we were fishing the festival this year. So.
We did too, quite a lot. We have a couple of Nelson White's hand-me-downs on our boat that Alan's given us. And
he gave me some rain gear, some thermal and rain gear that Nelson had years ago.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, and I wear it with honor. And it's for a fellow my size, I usually don't get hand-me-downs. I can't think of 5 times in my whole life somebody handed me down something. So it was
kind of funny because those two big on him, like not like big around, but like lengthwise. Like he was putting on, he looked at Alan, he said, "How big was your dad?" Because Alan's not a very tall guy. Like Alan's a stocky, but he was like, "Oh, my dad was, what do you say, 12'1" or something?"
big man, but a big heart too. I fished with him in the bass festival. I was just a young kid, probably.
You ever lose any money to him?
No, early 20s, and that was a draw. Well, it used to be a draw, and I drew him, and we went into French Creek, and he caught a limit quick, and he gave me baits. He told me, he said, "Bob, if there's anything else you're going to do, get rid of that trout rod you're using and get a stick, something with a little, bigger line." Just a lot of good advice.
Because he was big into flipping a jig.
Oh, big, but he was using a small finesse bait that day, and I mean, he handed them to me. I mean, he just said, and I hooked 6 or 7 fish, never got a one to the boat.
Really?
Yeah, broke them off. In French Creek with a lot of wood back there.
Yeah.
But just a heck of a man, just a good fella, and
heck of a fisherman.
But just do anything in the world for you too. Just a good man, and his brother was the same way.
The whole family, Ronnie.
Yeah, Ronnie.
The whole family.
And again,
that way.
Alan. I wouldn't tell him if it's here, but he's a great guy.
Yeah, great fisherman too.
Yes,
but all of
he
them.
is.
You know Bill Kennedy, then I would imagine.
Oh,
too.
Bill's one of my best buddies.
Yeah, we were talking. Well, so we were tying on before the Bass Festival, and I have a couple of Nelson's jigs that he made back in the day. Yeah, with the Mylar, like the shiny stuff in it. And I held one up to Bill, and I said, "You ever seen one of these before?" And Bill said, "No, but that's a really nice looking jig." And I said, "I bet you lost money to this jig before." And he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "This used to belong to Nelson White." And he said, "I guarantee you I've lost some money to that jig right there."
Yeah, he's one of the best sticks on the river.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and
anywhere, too, not just a river.
And you talked to Alan, like the way he fished, it wasn't complicated. He was, the way he was just really thoughtful about the moves he made. But he was real thorough with a jig, and he used pork a lot. He was big into the Uncle Josh's pork, which I can tell you still works because I fished behind Alan. First time I went fishing with Alan, he asked me to go to Stonewall with him. Like, I just met Alan. He said, "You should go to Stonewall with me sometime. We'll do some fall
You're not
fishing."
going to fish behind Alan. Even if he's a he's going to be in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's crazy.
We go to Stonewall, and I'm with Alan. We go to the gas station. We're getting ice and stuff for that morning. And 2 other guys in another boat was going with us, and they said, "Is this the poor kid that's fishing behind you today?" And Alan's kind of laughing. He said, "Yeah." And they said, "Man, you won't catch a fish." And I was like, "Oh, no, bull crap, I'll catch fish." And they said, "If he lets you, maybe." But we started fishing that day, and I mean, Alan, he didn't leave nothing for me back there. He probably caught 7 limits. And I remember at one point that day, I was throwing a spinnerbait, and he was throwing a spinnerbait, and he just got this new casting rod. And he said, "Here, try this rod." And so I hand him mine. And I take his, and he cast out first cast with my rod and my spinnerbait. He catches a fish. Whenever he reels that thing in, I said, "I don't even want to talk to you right now." I tell you what, though, and he's the same way. He likes to flip a jig. And
he asked me, he goes, I was the boater. He goes, "You care if I fish up front?" I said, "No, that's okay. But a half a day, it's your boat anyway." He said, "Well, I like to fish up front." I said, "Okay." We get out there, first step. He gets in front and gets up on the motor in front of me. I said, "What is this?" But that's just the way he was.
Oh, yeah.
Go getter.
He'll put you on fish, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's, I fished with Alan on the river. Oh, you're fine. You want to sing with it for us? But no, I have fished with Alan on that river. He filled in for him. He had a motorcycle wreck one year, so yeah, it was like 2 weeks before the challenge. It was the first year that it was the championship format that it is now, so you couldn't substitute a partner or anything.
Exactly right.
They made an exception for us, considering it wasn't like a decision where we broke up.
No.
You know, I guess they did have one other group that got in a fight throughout the season, and they were kind of weary about letting us do it. But I was like, man, he had a motorcycle wreck. Well, anyways, Alan filled in for me then, and I mean, we did really good. Alan showed me in that tournament alone. That brought me from being the guy that blanked every tournament to the next year we won a tournament. No, it wasn't the next year. It was the next week.
Yeah.
The next freaking week, me and him won our first big tournament on the river after the challenge. Yeah, because we used to fish one certain way. It used to be all we ever threw was Senkos, right? Whenever we first started fishing the river, we built up a little bit of confidence. Our first tournament on the river was the challenge 2018. We've only been doing this 5 years. My first time throwing a baitcaster was 5 years ago. So, yeah. Yeah, I remember our first tournament we fished together. I had a little tackle box like this and like one rod and reel, and I was flipping a crankbait, I think. I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah.
But you had a bank account, too.
Yeah, but I had a bank account, so I was able to get started. But yeah, I remember the first year we fished, we blanked every tournament. We fished the first challenge together, and somehow with a whacking worm, we ended up finishing 16th, and it was like the hook set thin, right? And then we followed that good finish up the following year with straight goose eggs all the way through the season. You know, it's the second year tournament fishing. I don't think we caught a single fish that year in the tournament. You know, it's the second year doing this, and you think from the outside looking in that that it's not that tough, and that's all we threw. The first 2 years was a Senko, and I mean, don't get me wrong, when they're on, but then I fished that tournament with Alan, and I don't know, just seen a different style of fishing. And ever since then, I've tried to make a habit of fishing with as many people as I can, because you just learn something from everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own style.
You do.
Yeah.
And that's what's nice about a club level. We fished a lot of clubs growing up, and that was a format. You fish with a different club member every tournament.
Yeah.
So you got to learn their technique, and you showed them your technique. You learned a lot.
Everybody I've ever talked to that's been doing this for a while that's any good, they'll tell you the same thing that you just said, that you need to, especially your first few years, which we obviously didn't do, go fish as a non-boater in a club somewhere, draw people, and you'll learn all the different ways to fish. But another thing that helps, the Fishers and Men Trail that we follow with Dustin, everybody there, I'm not going to say that they'll tell you how they're catching the fish the day of the tournament, but everybody there is pretty good that, like, afterwards, after the tournaments are over, if you have questions and stuff from somebody that did good, I've never really been knocked down on trying to talk to anybody there. Like, you know, we have a pretty good club. That makes a big difference when you're fishing club levels, too. For anybody listening, especially new anglers, don't be scared to ask questions. I don't think anybody, unless you're in the middle of the tournament, you go up to the guy in the boat and go, hey, man, what are you catching on? But after the tournament's over, I don't think anybody, like you said, especially somebody that's been doing this a while, that's wanting to see younger people get into it, would have any problem saying, you know, maybe you should try this, or maybe you should do this.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I remember that at the end of every club tournament we had, we'd take 5 minutes and explain. What'd you catch them on? What'd you catch them on?
You should.
We shared, and whether you wanted to or not, you shared.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good idea, because I know a lot of us like to hold on to our information like it's near and dear, but number one, there's no secrets on the river, like we discussed before. Everybody pretty well knows what the baits are that people catch them on. I think it helps people grow as anglers, and at a club level, it's not like you're fishing for the next $1 million anyways. You might as well try to help people grow, but sometimes we're our own worst enemies too, I guess. So before we wrap it up, you guys have do you want to give any big advice before? I'll give you one last chance to give up a real good secret on this here. If you're just dying, I don't know.
I don't have any secrets.
I'm
pretty open.
Really no secrets.
Yeah.
They said anybody willing to drop $500, they'll leave you the waypoints from this last week.
There's one spot that we've sworn to secrecy. We can't.
I don't blame you.
Don't blame you in the slightest.
We'll see how that goes next tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, because
we're fishing together.
You know somebody's seen you on it probably.
Oh, most definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said, you know, I can't remember not seeing a boat. You know.
It was just weird. Yeah, I don't even know how to say it. Nobody fished it.
I know before we get off here, I did have a question for you guys. So you talked about running spot to spot. How long will you guys spend on a spot before? Obviously, you spent 3 hours on the one spot because you didn't have a choice. And
we really thought the big fish would pull up, because it's known over the years, over 20, that you could get a school big fish move up and you can catch a limit in 5 minutes.
So if
big bag.
if you weren't in a crowded situation like that, would you have left to leave the pressure off? If you wasn't worried about other people coming right in on you,
Oh, we'd have been gone in 2 seconds.
and then you would have came back to see if they had loaded up.
Yeah, it only takes us what, Jeremy, 10 minutes max.
Maybe 10
Maybe.
minutes.
If we can't get a bite in 10 minutes, we're gone.
Okay, so you guys will pull.
Yeah, if we don't get a biter, I don't see one on the live, I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm
he's getting really good with his electronics.
You have to if you
and
want to
that
win.
being said, if you want to learn it, go to Erie, go to New York, go someplace that you know there's smallmouth. It's in the river a lot of times. I'll be like, oh, there's a fish, and I'll throw it to
Too
it,
much garbage.
and I'll catch drum.
I've
And there's no way to differentiate.
And
that
it's
from
gar and
anywhere.
carp and
now
it's-
gar, you can tell. I can tell. They got that. You can see the nose.
Yeah.
They're long, but a drum, it looks
Yeah.
just like a
It
bass.
looks like a big smallie.
and for a few
and they
seconds,
get
it
the
feels
same-
like one too.
Well, yeah, and they get this in and around the same places. The biggest thing that guys will say, "Oh, the live." You know, I don't catch a lot of fish off live, but I find a lot of rocks in 15 foot of water on that live.
Do you have a 362 or just the live?
The 360 might be a thing now since I got $9,000.
Yeah, you got $9,000.
I don't know. I'd like to see it first. I got a couple buddies that have it.
I'll tell you
have
what,
it.
you could do a demo of that Falcon out there, and I can sell you one with a 360 on it. I don't know if you're a Stratus guy. I don't know if you know this or not, but the engineers that designed Falcon were the same engineers from Stratus. That's actually, so the Predator that I have out there is a 201 hull, but just wider.
That's what mine is,
Yeah.
I
So if you like them, if you ever think about upgrading, give Seven
I got
Rivers
that
a
motor
chance.
now,
If I had to pick between the two, if I could just have a live, because the boat I bought off Jordan just has the live, then he got this one, it's got both. If I had to pick between the two, I would pick the 360 over the live.
and I've heard that.
Yeah.
I think,
But I see what you're like when you're as you're pulling up and you're looking. I kind of like the
It's
idea
changed.
of that too.
it's really great. I mean, open water, lakes, open water fishing, you can't beat the live. But
Right.
running up and down the bank, you can't beat the 360.
Yeah.
You see that stump that you never would have seen.
A log,
Yeah.
a stump, a rock. Yeah.
One thing he brought up though is after we got the 360, it made him feel more comfortable. It made both of us feel more comfortable with the live because then we were able to kind of, you'd see something on the 360 and then you could see it with the live. And after I kind of compared the two, now I find myself using the live a lot more, just
deal.
because I understand how it works, you know. But yeah, it's
He's really good on it too, because I mean, he doesn't turn his front graph on. I mean, if he's going to get front graph, it's the live. I mean,
Yeah, I don't have nothing else.
Nothing else.
was it just did you just like force yourself one day like when you was up at Erie to be
I
like
just
I'm
said,
not
all right,
fishing?
This is where it's going. This is if you want to
Right.
be competitive, and I've told him that now. There's so many people our age doing it that are computer
Literate.
Yeah.
And I said if you're in 10 years from now, maybe not soon, it's coming. I'm telling you,
Oh, it's coming. Considering that
If you
some
wanna
guys
be
have 5
competitive, you better
lives.
learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but the second day we didn't turn anything on. I didn't turn one unit on the whole day.
Because we'd already established and where they were at, and
Yeah.
like I said, we didn't even run to the best place the second day.
So I'm glad we didn't end this now because I do have a good question for you about the live. What's if you're trying to dial in the live? Which brand do you have first off?
Lowrance.
Which a lot of them are similar in setups, right? But I think Lowrance is known for having the best.
Easy setup. There's only
Yeah.
like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So
I
what
don't
would you?
even know.
How far out do you have it set to?
60 feet.
60.
So you just keep it consistently at 60 feet.
Yeah.
Can you see at 60 feet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then so do you just mostly adjust your gain depending on like
I don't adjust anything now.
Really?
I
You
just I've got online and watched videos, and the guys are pretty. You know, if you see 4 or 5 different videos, the same settings.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
Probably the one.
I just set it there. I don't ever touch it. I don't ever change anything.
that,
And then
And he doesn't really fish muddy water with it. So
Right. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
When the clarity and is about the same anywhere or clear, it's great.
Yeah.
You see real good.
so I don't catch a lot of fish on it. In the fall, maybe more.
right.
But
So what's your favorite bait to if you're video game fishing? What's your favorite go-to bait for just trying to? I know a lot of guys. What's that show? Not showstopper. There's one now. It's like a minnow that weighs like a full ounce that people are using. That's
I like throwing a jig at them. I mean,
It's
the
hard to beat a
smallmouth are
jig.
More. If a smallmouth's on the bottom, you can probably catch it, and it's probably on a rock. So, and you can really see those jigs pretty well.
Yeah, you
And
can.
I mean,
and it's hard to deny that fish
and
probably
it
eat
gets
a
down
jig.
to
Yeah.
it gets down to them quick, and
If you ever see a smallmouth that didn't need a crawdad,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, do you have any questions for before we?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, I guess we'll end it with out of your 2 favorite lakes, what's your favorite lake to fish? Erie, probably, or Thousand Island?
Thousand Island, no question.
No question.
No question. Not
What's
even
your
close.
favorite lake? Because you fished a lot of them. If you fished the Pro Trail for a year, you've definitely been around.
I'd tell you, Table Rock's been awful good to me. It's a nice lake.
Is that Arkansas? Where is Table?
Yeah.
Missouri, I think.
Okay.
That was Smith Mountain. It's on my bucket list. I've
So-
always wanted to go there.
Yeah, here's what we'll tell
Don't
you.
take it from us then.
Well, no, so I will say I would love to go back, but if you're going to go, it's laid out different than any lake you've ever fished because it's a bunch of other mountains flooded in. So you'll be going in like 170 foot of water, and then in the middle of the lake there'll be a ridge line on top of a bunch of mountains, right, with like trees and stuff on it. So just, I guess, imagine parts of West Virginia flooded with mountains inside of it. So the layout's really weird, different than what we're used to. But once you figure out the lake, like the 4th day, whenever we finally started figuring things out, we started having fun. But it was rough. Like there's 20-some thousand acres to cover, and it's, like I said, it's just so big and laid out. If you have a lot of experience with electronics, if you're better at electronics than we are, you probably could catch on a little bit quicker. But
And
the
if
guys,
you guys are spot fishing like deep spots, I think you're probably going to have a lot of fun there.
I think the winner both days was over a 20-pound bag. I mean, the fish are there. It's just
Yeah.
the best way I would describe Smith Mountain is it really just comes down to finding the right spot. It's a big lake, and it's laid out.
You fished Stonewall before?
Yeah.
So it's like a ginormous Stonewall
A lot of
lake.
fingers off of it. Like if you
That's
look,
exactly what it's like.
yeah, if you look at it on a map, it's hard to.
That's
but-
another thing people don't understand. Just fish here, how big lakes really are. You know, we go to Kerr.
Yeah, Kerr's
Unbelievable.
I've never fished Kerr, but I've heard it's a stud.
It's a great lake.
It's tough. I mean,
Yeah.
It's claimed a lot of lower units in its lifetime. I've heard
Sure.
too. Yeah, all that's right. That's
Probably
the
not
Tennessee
as-
River chain, right?
No,
No, Kerr's not Tennessee
Kerr's
River.
not.
No.
it's a monster lake though.
Yeah.
I was really surprised.
We like Chautauqua. I love Chautauqua. It's my
I've
favorite
never
lake
been to
so far.
Chautauqua. I've been
If
to
you like
Dunk-
smallmouth.
I've been to Dunkirk. It's right there.
Yeah.
And I always say, if we get a lot of wind, we'll just run over to the lake. But we-
You need to go to Chautauqua sometime. You can flip boat docks all day and catch 2.5 pounder after 2.5 pound largemouth. And then if you find some of the right offshore spots like we did last year, I have a picture of that 4-pound smallmouth I caught. I mean, you want to talk? And it's the kind of Chautauqua is literally the kind of lake where even if you're not a good fisherman and you're like really new and you just want to go throw a
Makes you feel good.
Oh,
You'll
There's the
catch
dogs.
fish.
yeah,
You'll
because
catch
there's the
fish.
numbers are there. It's rare, I guess. There's a bunch of 2-pounders. You can go there and catch 30 or 40 2-pounders a day, but there's also like a lot of big fish. I think so. The first day of our tournament last year, the guy that won both days, he was an offshore fisherman. But I mean, he's such a good offshore fisherman. He just bought a brand new boat, and not because of money being an issue, just because he doesn't use them. He didn't buy poles because he never gets close enough to a bank to need them. So yeah, he found, like he said, 5 or 6 good spots, and he weighed in 25 pound bags both days.
Yeah, both days.
Oh, yeah. I remember, like, we showed up, like, you guys have been, we were talking like about this earlier. We thought we did so good. Like, we had a 16 pound something bag. We showed up, like, both of us carrying one side of the weigh bag, right? Because we felt good about our bag. And then Johnny Thompson shows up with, like, a 19 something, and his boys show up with, like, a 20 something. And we felt skunked then, but Johnny was feeling pretty high on the hog. Then this guy shows up.
25 pounds.
Oh,
He just kept pulling them out. They just kept getting bigger. I was like, what?
It was kind of funny because like he pulled the first one out and everybody was like, whoa, and then they pulled out the next one, whoa, and then third one, whoa, and then finally somebody goes, are you going to stop? Like,
That guy cleaned house that day.
and the
No
worst
matter
part,
how tough it is, somebody will always catch fish. It's
And that's
gonna
like
happen.
it's like the river too. I mean, I don't care how tough this thing gets out there.
Somebody's
somebody's
gonna
catching
catch
them.
them.
That's something that once we, I guess, finally realized that it's you have to accept that it's you that's not catching fish. It's not just the fish not biting that day, that you can make leaps and bounds. I remember one day we was fishing the river and we were just sucking. We hadn't caught a fish all day. I don't even know if we had a nibble. And he finally said something like, "Whoa, somebody's going to be catching them today." And I said, "If they are, they're cheating. If anybody beats us, they're cheating." He said, "That's the most fisherman thing I've ever heard you say, because it's true, man. A lot of people, that's the first thing they go to is, oh, they beat me. They must have been cheating to do it." Yeah. Well, anyways, guys, I think we've told enough fishing stories. I really appreciate your time, and congratulations
Yeah.
again on the win,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm glad to see. Maybe you guys can make it a
Has
double.
anybody ever repeated? Do you know?
Nelson White.
Birdies.
Yeah,
Repeated 2 in a
Oh,
row.
I don't know.
I think Nelson White might have.
Did he
I know
win 2 in a
he's.
row?
But I mean, Bergie's won it probably 5 or 6 times.
So
I know they've won it several times. I
Yeah.
don't know if they ever won